Well, here we are back again, and with me I have Solomon Kaffour on, and very pleased to have him on today, because today we're talking about Malawi, and you'll say, where is Malawi? And that's in?
It's in Southern Africa. It's a small country. It shares borders with Zambia, Tanzania, and Mozambique.
And is it a troubled country?
Yes, it is. There's a lot of challenges as far as like financial needs is concerned. It's rampant with HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, I heard
One
that.
of the highest. In Southern Africa, malaria is also a big challenge. So there's a lot of development issues that is concerned with Malawi as a country.
Yeah, and I want to say that Solomon has been in the Peace Corps, and you decided to go to the Peace Corps and do Malawi. Do they assign it to you, or do you say, I want to go to Malawi?
They don't actually assign it to you.
Yeah.
They place you where the need is.
Okay.
So pretty much I was assigned as a community health advisor.
Okay.
So given that was the scenario, I was placed in Malawi because of the high need. And
you're saying health. You worked in
Yes,
health.
yes.
Okay, good. The AIDS situation is horrendous
Definitely.
in Africa,
Definitely.
and not just Malawi, but many of the countries.
Definitely.
They don't like to always talk about it, but it is a very serious issue.
Right.
Part of it is that I think women are certainly not thought well of
Right.
in not just Malawi, but many of the African countries. How did you see them in that setting, women or young girls?
Young girls and women in particular, it was very hard for me when I first went over there because the first month we had to stay in a host community village. And I remember I stayed with a host family, and my mother, or Amai, which is referred to in Chichewa, which is a predominant language spoken in Malawi. And I remember one night I was having a dinner with my father, the Abambo, and she came kneeling down and placing the food on the table. And that really was a shocking to me.
We don't do that here for you.
Definitely. So I said, why is she doing this, And I was very thrown off. So it kind of like bothered me, and the subordination of women, especially young girls, a lot of them are powerless when it comes to the school system. The
That's
male
what I hear.
teachers abuse a lot of the authority. There's a lot of relationship going on that are not permitted, but they do so.
Yeah.
In the end, most of these girls get infected with HIV and AIDS because they have no say. So it's a plight that is very devastating to the country. And I think now having Joyce Banda, who is the second female elected African president on the continent, is very hopeful for many of these young girls because now they have a voice that they never had before.
And she's done a good job. And in the past, we've had her nephew on, Kenny Banda, who
Right.
is very active in trying to get girls involved in sports,
Right.
thinking that maybe that would give them
Right.
more of an identity
Right.
and not that have to be subservient and that. Now, you brought some photos. Let's look at the photos,
Sure.
and they're right there. They'll be on that screen. And tell us what we're looking at.
Well, this photo here, I took it during my COS conference, which is closing of service. And the other two brothers that are sitting next to me are actually Malawians, and they work in the Peace Corps. So we had a nice fancy dinner. Given that I live in a rural community village, so it was a major treat for me to be able to sit here and enjoy a happy, lunch. This is the baba tree that I took in my village, and I was coming from a friend in a Peace Corps house. So when I came around the tree, it really struck a chord in me because it's beautiful, it's strong, and it kind of like signifies hope and also solidarity. So I took the tree, and one of my biggest projects was also promoting books because I feel like education is very essential, and if we can have a sustainable future, we have to invest in the youth. So one of my major embarkment in a Peace Corps was handing out over 250 books. So this is one of the photos that I took.
Are those in English?
Yes, they are.
Now, they read English, but they speak a different language. How does that work?
They read English and try to speak English, but they speak Chichewa, which is the local language, is a major challenge.
Is that a written language as well?
It is a written language,
Okay.
and they actually take a course on that in school. And sometimes it can be very challenging because I remember when I went, one of the challenges that I had as an African-American volunteer was that they were used to always see me as a Malawian.
And not as an American.
Right,
Well, in a way, that works in a way.
Right.
Because they'll be more accepting, maybe, of your advice.
Definitely. It can be advantageous and also disadvantageous in a lot of ways.
Otherwise, they think you're pretty stupid because you can't speak the language, right?
In a way, because I remember, sometimes I'll be with my Peace Corps volunteers friends in a village, and they would come up to me and they would say, "Mulibwanji," which is hello, how are you? And my other Peace Corps volunteers would get, "Hello, how are you doing?" And they said, "Well, he don't understand, he's American." They're like, but he look like Malawian, how can he be American? So, it was kind of like challenging in the beginning to try to like overcome that and for them to understand that we have diversity of people in the States and not necessarily just white folks. So that was a major impediment. But after a while, they got used to me in the community. They understood what I was there for, and it became easier. And I began to eventually pick up the Chichewa language and be able to relate to them more.
Oh my gosh, so how wonderful. And, well, you were there 2 years. Are we done with the photos? I'm not sure how far we've gone. Okay.
This is another photo that we took at my closing of service. Once again, at the very bottom, I think to the far left, and that was my whole group within the health sector. So we took that, and those two lady and gentlemen were my supervisor and assistant supervisor, and the rest of the people were just my group. So we were very happy because it was very challenging and tough. 2 years.
So you had quite a few in Malawi. Were they all in Malawi?
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
Definitely. And this photo was taken pretty much now the orphanage that I had the chance to work with, and we have an activity that we had done on that day. It's called Go Girls, and these are the girls from the orphanage, and many of them, at least 95% of them, had lost both parents to HIV and AIDS. So we try to provide, a sustainable home for them, trying to educate them.
Oh my gosh.
And they were very happy, as you can see in the photos.
Yeah.
And this is a photo I took in my village of the little boys and girls playing soccer or football in a village, and it was just very reminiscent.
Very big there, and they don't need a lot of equipment for soccer, so that makes it really good.
Definitely.
What is the major religion there? Is there one?
Christianity is a major religion, followed by Islam.
Islam? Okay, good, because some of the African countries are mainly Islamic.
Right.
So I just kind of wondered how Malawi was. Yeah.
Malawi has a strong Christian hold.
Okay.
So definitely. And this is a photo I took at the beach, Lake Malawi, and I came across these young men or boys, and they were actually promoting their music. So they would approach tourists, they would play some song, they would dance to it, then eventually they would hope to get some money out of it to make some ends meet.
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
Right. So. And these are some of the children, once again, from the orphanage. And I took them on a trip. And to many of them, it was the first time that they have actually been to a zoo. Oh. So we went and they saw animals. They saw many other mammals. And
they didn't think about killing them, right?
No. They saw elephants and a whole bunch of stuff. This is the church I used to go in a village. And that's Pastor Camber in the middle. And that's another brother from the church. And I took it with them one day after we had a closing of service. And up to this day, I still reflect on that whenever I see this photo.
When I hear you talk, Solomon, you talk about your mother and your father there and your brothers. It's like you became part of their community.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Would you recommend people thinking about going into the Peace Corps after your experience of 2 years?
Absolutely. I think it's a life-changing journey that one can ever take. It would change your whole perspective. Looking back at the States, we take so many things for granted. Being able to put yourself in the shoes of people for 2 years is just a major, I don't even know what word to use to describe it. It would just make you a better person. It will help you to have a better understanding of other cultures. And that is one of the main focal points of the Peace Corps, to be able to promote cross-cultural exchange and to be able to promote friendship on a part of the United States and also other countries that we are serving in. So
people to people too.
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
So important, because it's so hard to feel anger at another person that you know. You can feel anger country to country because it's impersonal. The minute you put a face on it, it's a lot harder to be.
Definitely. And I remember one thing that has stuck to me up to this day, and it was pretty much a term that one of the Peace Corps doctors had utilized in the Peace Corps, and he has an accident by birth. And up to this day, I will never forget, because a lot of these kids, it's not a fault of their own that they were born to poverty, and to be able to, think of your life chances in surviving is minimal, and we have so much, at our disposal.
Even the
here.
poorest in this country have more than
Definitely.
what those.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So
I really applaud what you've
Definitely.
done because it took 2 years out of your life, but it was really an education and a
Definitely.
gift, wasn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And we're talking with Solomon Kaffour, and very pleased to have him on to talk about Malawi. Maybe I can get him on sometime with Kenny Banda so we could have
Sure.
really a discussion on Malawi.